start off hopefully with an easy question. I don't know, but most of the artists know how to answer. The first album you bought yourself, being a little kid. What was it?
Well, the first album that I bought for my own money was an album called Friend or Foe by an 80s artist called Adam Ant. He used to be in Adam and the Ants, but then he went solo and became Adam Ant. So that was the first album that I bought for my own money. The first album that I actually got, apart from the children's albums like Donald Duck and all the Disney albums, was actually Help by the Beatles. My dad got me that one because I saw them on TV when I was like, I think 9 or 10 years old, and I became Beatles obsessed. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It was like, oh, I gotta have that. So my dad went out and bought the Help album for me.
The Help film, what did you like about it? What struck you about it?
I think it was that it, for me, was extremely funny. I mean, I didn't understand any of all the things that they said. I did understand a little bit, but I just thought it was hilarious. And I thought that the little guy playing the drums, he looked so happy. And even though everybody was picking on him and they were trying to kill him and all that stuff, but he was just like, yeah, whatever. And I guess just, of course, the music. There was something in the music that just struck me. I was like, wow, I want that.
And in hindsight, you're older now. You play yourself. You play live. The Help album, the songs. Do you still like those songs? Still fascinated by the sound?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the Beatles are, for me, definitely still in the top 5 of my all-time favorites. Absolutely.
And the Help album?
Well, it's probably not the best one they did, but I don't really have a 100% favorite album. There's some of the albums that's, for me, it's a bit better than the others. One of my favorites is one called With the Beatles.
Second album?
Second album, now it's getting difficult.
Yeah, I think so. Please Me was the first one?
Yeah, that was the first one, yeah. With the Beatles was the second one. Revolver struck something as well. Everybody's always babbling about Sgt. Pepper, and Sgt. Pepper is a good album, but it was never one of my favorites, although I do like it, of course.
Yeah, but I think maybe the songwriting on Revolver is a little bit better, the songs, maybe.
I think in overall, definitely some of the songs are perhaps better, and perhaps it is a stronger album, but I don't know, I wasn't even born when Pepper came out, but something happened when Pepper came out, you know.
Well, you said Adam Ant. Why specifically this album? Was it good in hindsight, or?
Actually, I think it's still the best solo album that he's ever done. I think what really struck me was I saw him on TV performing the title track, and just the way that he looked was completely new to me at that point. I mean, he wasn't really that pirate kind of thing anymore, but he still had a little bit of the old costumes that he used to wear, and I guess just the drum sound, because I have already started playing drums at that point, and just that Burundi beat, 2 drummers playing at the same time, I think that was definitely the sound of it that really struck a chord. And to this day, it still fascinates me, and he's actually the only artist that I actually collect. I collect singles, albums, posters, anything.
But I read, and I don't know if it's true because I haven't followed him well, but I read that he had some sort of mental illness a few years ago.
Well, yeah, apparently he suffers from mental illness that kept him out of the music business for, I don't know, 10, 15 years actually. But it seems like he released an album, was it last year I think it came out? Something like that. And it's okay. It's not great. It do have some, in my opinion, some very good songs on it, but the production-wise is really bad. It sounds like a bunch of demo tapes, more or less, put together. But I mean, he's been touring in the UK and especially in the US for the last 2 years, and I know next year he's coming to Germany. So I'm still crossing my fingers that he'll come to Denmark, but I highly doubt it. But
you said that he's the one person that you're actually collecting.
Yeah.
Why?
Why? I don't know. I guess it's still because he was probably, I would say, when I was a teenager, he was my first really like idol, and just everything that he did or said on the music there was something in it. And to this day, I mean, he's still my favorite artist, and especially the Kings of the Wild Frontier album for me is my all-time favorite album, and I can listen to it over and over again and never get tired of it.
What makes him such a good artist?
I guess at that time when he came out with those songs, it was different. Nobody has done it like that before, and again, I don't know, it just struck a nerve or something that's been there ever since.
Yeah, because you were young and you were, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I used to collect, you know, Metallica albums, Kiss albums and stuff like that, but especially with Kiss, there was way too much stuff, so I kind of given up on that. I'm still buying the Kiss albums, but I'm not collecting them anymore.
What do you still need from Adamant, collecting-wise?
There are still some different 7-inch singles, just different covers, some Japanese editions that I'm still missing. Well, I wouldn't mind getting my hands on one of the original costumes, but that's probably going to be very difficult because they're in a museum in London, so they probably won't give those up.
What is I don't know if you want to share it, but just funny to know, the most expensive thing that you bought from him for your collection?
Fortunately, it's not that expensive, actually. I would say probably the first single they put out in '78, the original single, which fetched around, not that much, but I guess it's like 30 euros or something. Okay. At that point. It's not that his stuff is that expensive. There's probably maybe 1 or 2 items that is really rare. I know there's a Japanese sampler 12-inch album that's highly impossible to get, and there is a CD single which actually got held back and never really released. Maybe only 2 or 3 copies exist of that one, and I'm never gonna find that. And I probably won't pay for it, because if it ever shows up, it's going to be very expensive.
Is it for you, would you like to meet him?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes people say, well, if I meet my idol, then maybe...
Yeah, but to be honest, I probably wouldn't know what to say anyway. I would probably just go, hi, been a fan since '82.
Yeah. Okay.
He might turn out to be a nice guy, who knows?
We'll see. Well, you said, Adamant, when you bought that album, you already started playing drums.
Mm-hmm.
What made you pick up the drumsticks?
That was because I saw the Beatles.
That was okay.
When I saw Ringo play, it was like, I want that. Because again, he looked so happy, and it seemed like they were having so much fun. So it's like, oh, I want that.
And how did you start? Did you start by going to a drum teacher, or was it just by yourself? Or?
Well, when I told my parents that I wanted to pick up the drums, they were like, yeah, sure, why not? But then you have to go to a teacher, and I was like, oh, Mom. But they said, oh, you have to do that. And I did for a couple of years, learned just the basic stuff. But unfortunately, at the school where I went, another teacher came in instead of the one that I had, and he was actually a jazz drummer. And when you're like, well, at least in my case, when you're like 11 or 12 years old, you don't really want to play jazz, you know. So I said to him, oh, I want to play like Kiss or something like that. And he was just, no, you have to do this and do that. So I kind of went, no, I won't. So that was it, actually. And then I just, you know, started playing along to every album that I could find, actually.
Are there certain albums that you, I don't know, I don't play the drums, so I don't know exactly, but are there certain drummers that you really learned a lot from while playing along?
Yeah, probably I would say Eric Carr and Peter Criss from Kiss, yeah. Because that was something that it wasn't that hard to duplicate. Of course, it's harder than people think, but yeah, guys like Peter Criss, definitely Eric Carr, yeah, again Ringo, Charlie Watts and stuff like that. I used to listen a lot to Keith Moon, but I can't do what he did anyway. Huh? But you know, try to pick up as many influences as possible. So yeah, Keith Moon, and a bit later on, of course, Iron Maiden would zoom in on my radars or try to play along to Iron Maiden albums, play along to Metallica albums when they came around. And when Slayer entered my world, that was the end.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can't do what Dave does.
No, because he does double bass and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, the double bass thing for me actually just came about that I bought it because it looked so cool with the double bass, but I had no idea how to play it, and to this day I actually still don't know how to play it. I just do it.
No, but he is really good, Dave Lombardo.
Oh yeah, for me he's the best. Nice. I mean, he's like a train wreck. Basically, you're not sure if he's going to go off the tracks or he's going to be on the tracks. But yeah, for me, Dave is definitely the best.
And well, you already mentioned Keith Moon and Ringo Starr and Charlie Watts. Sometimes people say, well, Ringo Starr is a bit underestimated. Do you feel so?
I think he is actually, because I mean, he's not the most technical drummer in the world, but he has a way, in my opinion, to make the drums sing more or less, and he knows where to fill the gaps, where he's supposed to fill the gaps, and not just be all over the place, because that was not what their music was about. The rhythm was actually, in the Beatles' music, were in the guitars. But he has a very certain style of playing. You can always hear when it's him playing, and he's actually very, very tight on the beat. I mean, if you put a metronome to a Beatles song, because everything was recorded live, he doesn't really skip anything. So I think he's vastly underrated.